Business SEO, and we're all about thrive. And then today to be a year, I'm aboard, you guys. Last week, or well, let's just talk about this year so far. So we closed out 2021 with really being able to look at what we value. We started 2022 with being able to look at that strategic plan, and it wasn't all woo-woo-ish and happy-ish and all that stuff. And I didn't talk about vision boards or anything, even though I'm a big believer in that. But we did talk about writing your plan down actually helps it to be solidified and actually come to fruition here. So, we've been in survival mode for too long. It is time. It is time to be able to get into that space where we feel like we're thriving, and however you define thriving, okay? Which I'll share with you some of, what my thrive looks today. So lots going on in the world. Today is about mindset. And we're so bombarded with the mainstream media. We're so bombarded with the stock market up and downs. We're so bombarded by, the political agenda. We are bombarded by the fact that, hey, we might actually be, we're sending troops to Ukraine. And it's crazy to think that we can just relax and have a good time and, dig our feet into the sand and all of this stuff. And most of us are striving to just work really hard. And a lot of us are still in fear about making some of the, doing some of the things that we want to be able to do. Honestly, this is a year that we got to let go of the fear. We have to now kind of take on the philosophy that there are certain things that we have control over and there's certain things that we don't. But at this point, we got to let go of the fear of this pandemic, because it's keeping us down. And maybe, maybe in some parts of it that makes sense in order to keep us healthy and safe. But in a lot of it, it's ruining our businesses and our relationships and our communities and our country and the world as a whole. So we have to be able to kind of let that go. Now, today's a very auspicious day, you guys. So we just celebrated the Chinese New Year, and it's the year of the tiger. So my son is actually a tiger. I am a rabbit. And my partner, Jeff, is an ox. So it all seems very compatible at this point. But in our mindset conversation today, we're going to talk about the power of two. So today is 2222. It is February 2nd in the year of 2022. So that makes it 2222. And two is a very auspicious number. And I'm just going to kind of go into a little numerology information here for you guys to be able to kind of feel that, this could be a very good year for us. Is there still going to be trying times? Yes, but there always is. And as you guys know, that I always work within a framework of these podcasts and conversations. And if you're one of my clients that I coach, how we also set up our coaching conversations is based on the SOS framework. So we talk about sales, operations, mindset, marketing, education. Today, we are stopping in mindset. So not so much business education, but certainly that ability to be able to say, are you in the right mindset in order to be able to achieve the things that you say you want, whether they're personal, whether they're business, doesn't matter. Are you in the right mindset here? So with 2222 being very auspicious, let's just talk a little bit about perceived as the most powerful and creative number of all. So when you take numerology, the idea behind it is that you just keep adding the numbers together until you get to a one single digit number. So when you do your birthday or your life plan or things like that, you just, you take the day you were born, the month you were born, the year you were born, you add it all up, and then you just keep reducing it down by 2. But if your number ends up 2 and 2 being 4, and then having your number be 4, you are actually a very rare and lucky person to be able to have 22 as your number. There's way more to it. You can Google it all day long. It's very interesting stuff. But 22 means you're able to overcome all kinds of obstacles you're not easily knocked down by failure. You love to be seen, you love to be successful. So you may become frustrated if you struggle too hard to achieve your goals. So that's if you were a 22 person. But let's just broaden out the horizon and say, we're in the year of 2022. So I'm going to apply some of these things to my philosophy and my intentions for this year. I'm going to continue to overcome obstacles. I'm not going to get knocked down by failure. And yes, I might get frustrated if I struggle to achieve my aims, but I'm also going to be very clear on what my aims are to even. And 2 is it's a supremely feminine force, and it's a lot about grace and power, but it also is about harmony, peace and harmony, not necessarily control and authority. So if we can look at today and this whole year being something where it's like, we don't want to be in a position of being controlled or by authority, but instead we want harmony and teamwork and peace, then then you have the opportunity to be able to look at the world from a different perspective here. We're auspicious than ever today. So two is this, in numerology also represents partnerships, the coming together, the balancing of two individual people, concepts, or things. So what is on your plan this year for 22 that is you need a partner to do or accomplish, or a collaborator with you? Maybe it's a concept that you are trying to align with. Or maybe it's something that you're trying to adapt and it needs to gel together. It needs to become like a partner with you, whatever that is. It holds great power over a lot of situations, but it's also about diplomacy and tact. And as I said, harmony and teamwork. Twos, and the number 2 is really a mediator to a lot of middle road situations. Okay, so it's a very balanced number in there. So I want you to think about the people in your life, maybe your significant other. Okay, and the partnership that you have. Is it peaceful? Is it harmonious? Maybe you have a business partner. What's the relationship with the business partner? Has it worn out its welcome? Is it still a thriving partnership, or are there some new conversations that need to be had? This would be the year to have them. Maybe this other person in your life is your manager, somebody that really helps you get the things accomplished that you need to be able to get. Are they on the same page as you? Are they one with you in that vision and that culture conversation that you need to have them in place? Or does it feel like that maybe they're working against you? There's this video. It's a very fun video, and it could be called The First Follower if you look it up on YouTube, but it's also called the Shirtless Dancing Guy. And it just kind of shows, it's like these people at this concert, and I won't give it all away. I'll let you look it up and watch it. But it shows all these people at the concert, and it's just this one guy. Nobody's dancing. Everybody's sitting and enjoying the concert. But there's this one guy that gets up and just starts kind of crazy dancing. Okay. And what they say about this first follower is that if that one person does it, so it's not the band that got everybody up singing and dancing. It was the band's first follower. And once he got up and started dancing crazy and having fun and letting loose and enjoying the moment of all of this, other people started to get up and do that too. Now, as a leader, people may not always be hip on following you because there's still that perception and persona of boss and team. But do you have a first follower in your life, in your business, and in a situation where you're trying to accomplish things? And maybe that first follower is not necessarily the manager or somebody in a position of authority or your significant other or biz partner. Maybe it's somebody else that is just a believer and wants to be able to support you and wants to see you have success, but also have success as well. So do you have a first follower? Okay, maybe it's a relative, and maybe this second person in your life is God or your faith that you believe in, and Jesus. Maybe it's something like that for you. It doesn't have to be another person. It could be a belief system, a value-based system, a faith-based system. Okay, so think about who this partner is in life, because this is the year of partnerships. Okay, this is the year to be able to collaborate. Now, 7 years ago, we just had Jeff and I just had our 7-year meeting anniversary where we first met. And of course, we met at the ISSE show in Long Beach, California, and a mutual friend introduced us. And so we just hit our 7-year mark, 6 years of being together. And, this is really somebody that I always imagined would be my partner. Now, of course, this is much later in life. I didn't even meet him until later in life. I'd already been married, divorced, had a child. But I always knew that the relationship I was supposed to have was supposed to be with somebody in the industry. And sometimes that doesn't even make sense because, our industry is predominantly women. But I always felt like that person I was supposed to be with was going to be in the industry. So Jeff South, my partner in crime, is, my main man, and my partner in relationships. We do business together in his salon. I work for him in his salon. He helps me out with my business in, coaching and other programming and stuff like that. So we have a really good relationship. And what has happened over the years, but more importantly, this has happened over me over the last 2 years, and I'm sure you guys can relate to this, is the last 2 years of our lives, we've had to redefine success, love, vision. Think of a word that you want to come up with and look at it from a perspective of, we absolutely positively have had to redefine this. So, success for me is more about feeling love towards others, compassion towards others, peace, harmony, being able to spend time with others, nurturing those few relationships instead of feeling like I have to have several relationships. And of course, prosperity. And prosperity not necessarily meaning money, but prosperity feeling like I have a good life, it's very well-rounded, and it's very balanced. To me, that's far more of a definition of success than how much money I'm making. It's more of my contribution for others. Love was another word that I looked at this year, and that certainly has been redefined for me in the last couple of years, because, if you're in a business relationship or a personal relationship with another person, it required an enormous amount of commitment, because, we were locked down. We couldn't do the things that we typically had. We didn't have the same freedoms. And so that level of commitment was like, shot right up. The ability to communicate better with our partners, to be more caring towards what they're going through and how they're managing themselves through everything we've been through in the last couple of years. And continuing on, like being in that commitment of continuing on, not just saying, I'm doing this because I'm kind of stuck in it, but doing it because you want it to continue on and thrive, right? And then, of course, that ability to feel coupled, to have that sounding board, that other person that supports you, that hears you, that trusts you, that it just has your back. That's really important. And then, of course, to be able to look at this as a position of better days. Jeff and I had a boat called Better Days, and when we first got it, there was no such thing as a pandemic, right? It was in 2018. And we called it Better Days because one of our favorite songs that brought us together was Eddie Vedder's song, Better Days. You might be familiar with it. It is part of Eat, Pray, Love, as part of the soundtrack of Eat, Pray, Love. And so we called our boat Better Days. And some people looked at it as like a time past phrase, like we got to get back to better days, like when there was the World Depression back in the 20s and the 30s and everything. Like that's kind of what people felt like when we called it Better Days. Of course, now more than ever, I wish we had that boat, and I wish we had that brand of Better Days with the boat, because honestly, that's where we're at right now. Is every day is about having it be a better day. It's not necessarily a better year or a better decade or a better anything, but a better day. But the last line of the song that Eddie Vedder sang, called Better Days, he says, "I'm soaring, and darling, you'll be the one that I can need and still be free." So it's saying that, that this relationship is wanted, desired, needed, structured, however it is, whatever this relationship is that we're talking about, but you can still be you can still be free. And then the very last piece is our future is paved with better days. And I really believe that right now, you guys. I really believe that our future is paved with better days. That there's growth and evolution and transformation attached to it. So now more than ever, we have to be able to look at this evolution, this transformation, as a new path, a new way to better days. So I love that about love. Yeah. And then the third thing I really focused on, coming into this year in my own personal place was the vision. What was my vision like for the last 2 years? It felt like survival at times. It felt hard pressed at times, but the truth is where I really kind of like got the greatest amount of value out of the last couple of years was simplicity. Like things just got simpler. I became laser focused on a few things instead of 10 things. Well, there's no way you could be laser focused on 10 things, but I became very laser focused on a couple of things, and it helped me to manage to manage stress, manage anxiety, that I didn't have to keep trying to keep up with things that I had been doing, prior to 2020. It meant let go of surviving too. That was something that really happened in 2021, because I think I felt like I just wanted to shut down and hide from the world in 2021. But I let go of survive. I really let go of thinking that I had to be in survival mode anymore, and that I trusted that I was going to be taken care of, and that God was going to take care of me. And, my partnership was going to take care of me, and my business was going to take care of me, and my family was going to take care of me. And I don't mean that literally like I'm not okay, take care of me, but that because they were there and these were strong support systems, I could finally just let go of thinking that they wouldn't be there if I really needed them. Okay. And especially as women, we have a tendency to sometimes always be taking care of everybody else, and then we're last to take care of ourselves. And then that's when we get stuck in that struggle and stuck in survival mode. So I really felt like I let go of that in 2021, which improved my level of trust by tenfold, and improved my ability to manifest things to come to me. Clear out survival and go into this mindset of being able to thrive and allow it to just start manifesting for yourself. Manifesting has been one of those key elements of my life that I go through stages where it's really easy to manifest the things that I want. And then there's times that it's a real struggle to be able to manifest the things that I want. But my son, he just turned 23 years old in January last month. He was my greatest manifestation at all, because I was not supposed to be able to have kids, and it was looking very, very slim that it could ever happen. So he's truly something that I was able to manifest because my desire was there. So the ability to be able to do that is there, but you got to be in the right mindset. And all of this, you guys, is tied around your mindset and the strength that you have in your beliefs and values of self. Okay. And a big part of what I teach in my coaching with my clients, and you probably have heard this throughout my podcast and even some of my programs and trainings and events that I've done, that, you got to be values driven, not value driven, values driven. Okay. The values driven is way more personal. Like adding more value is adding more value, but are you really being values driven personally? And is that then somehow showing up in your business, somehow showing up in your life, somehow showing up to your clients and your relationships? And it's not about giving more or doing more. It's just being very true to yourself in what your personal values are and beliefs. And that certainly has helped me to become far more visionary with the relationships that I want to have moving forward. My word this year is relate. Now, I kind of put a little spin on it where it's real late, okay? Because I want to be more real. I don't think that's something in question of me, but I feel like it's something in question in society. So I want to make sure that if I'm putting anything out there, it feels very authentic. It feels very connected to me. And it inspires and motivates other people to want to be a part of it. Now, relate as a word is a very interesting word, because if you look it up in the dictionary, the word relate is how they describe relate. So they say like relatable, the ability to be related to something or someone else. Okay, so they literally using the word as part of the definition, which makes it it can make it kind of difficult to understand. Or they say something like enabling a person to feel that they can relate to someone or something. Okay. So they're still putting the word relate in there. So relate, obviously relationships, relatability, relatable, all of those things are word. But the truth is, here's what relate really means. It's something you feel, not necessarily something that you do. It's something another person feels. So how you're being either is relatable to another person or not relatable to another person. So if somebody feels relatable to you, then certainly that makes sense. So it's all of this, you guys, ties back into looking at, are you in the right mindset to be able to start really planning your year? We are in February now, and before you know it, it's going to be April, and then June, and then fall, and then we're going to be back in the holidays, and 22 is going to slip right by. Are you ready to really start planning your life? And if you're really ready to start planning your life, then here's what I want you to do. I want you to set up, a complimentary session with me. And you can send me an email, send me a message, find me on social media and DM me, whatever it takes to be able to do that, because I have a very simple strategy plan that I work with under my framework, the SUM strategy plan, that is so easy to put together. And it really helps and guides you to be able to say, I want to accomplish these things, and we'll prioritize what those things are. And we'll make sure that you have the resources, the time, the energy, the money to commit to these things that you say that you want to do. And I'm committed as your coach to be able to help you achieve these particular things. So you can download the free strategy workbook, but what I'm going to suggest is that you set up a complimentary session with me, and to do that complimentary session to me is incredible. Now, if you're listening to this, go back into the context of the text where you found this, and you'll see the opportunity to click on a link to be able to set up that free complimentary session with me. If you're interested in just the strategy workbook, you can go to my website, bonniebonadeo.com/store/SOS 2022 strategy plan workbook. And there's a dash in between each of those words. So SOS-2022-strategy-plan-workbook. Okay, sorry, that was more complicated than it needed to be. Working on simplifying all of this stuff as well. But download the free workbook. If you go on my website right now, bonniebonadeo.com, it should have a pop-up that gives you access to it right then and there. So you don't even have to remember that thing. Plus, both of these things will be listed in the copy and the content that is tapped into this particular podcast here. So I'm going to recommend talk with me. Honestly, you guys, I do these complimentary sessions because I really want to help more people, and the right amount of people come through and decide that they do want to work with me, but I'm still willing to do this session with you, even if you choose not to be able to work with me. Okay. Maybe one day, maybe down the road, maybe you'll join a different program that I have to offer or something like that. It's okay. It's okay. I do this because I want to help people really have the success that they want to have. I love my life. I'm thrilled with where we're at. I'm anxious for what is yet to come. But I'm in a really good place right now. And so this is my gift. This is my contribution, is to be able to give you some of my time. I used to think that I didn't have time to do all these things. Now I'm giving away my time to be able to help other people. And honestly, that makes me feel good. So, okay. But you know what? You can join me on my Facebook group, and this is where you can get all the information and a lot more stuff. If you go to SOS Small Business Success, my name is attached to the end of that, Bonnie Bonadeo. So it's a Facebook group, SOS Small Biz Success, BIZ, success. Find me there, join the group, participate in some of the other things that I've got coming up for this year, but definitely jump into the group, and all these podcasts are always going to be in there. You can also find the podcast on my YouTube channel, SOS Small Biz Success. And, of course, follow me on Instagram at Bonnie Bonadeo. And as well, if you have, you want to do any outreach to me, you can find me. You can find me on social media, easy to find, Bonnie Bonadeo. All right, you guys, your support and the feedback that you send me back saying you enjoy listening to my podcast. This year I have a lot more guests lined up. So I'm working on the final calendar of guests to be able to have you guys not just learn from me or listen to me, but to be able to learn from other people. So remember, this mission we're on is to be able to help you build your brand so that you can survive. Okay. The brand has to survive in order for you to, but to develop you so that you get to thrive. And, maybe join me out on this beach here soon, and dig your toes in the sand and be worry-free for a little bit. Because I tell you what, survival is exhausting. You got to get out of it today. That's my message for today. All right. Thanks everybody for joining me. Appreciate you being here, and we'll see you next